Welcome to another SAMMIT video where we fix broken cars.
You know what's frustrating?
What?
I backed into a little pole that I couldn't see, and you drove over an entire pallet of Garrett turbos, and there's not a single scratch on the car. It's like a little scuff. The bumper popped off, did it what it was supposed to do, and clipped back on with not a single thing.
Yep.
Luckily, none of the Garrett turbos are damaged.
Yeah.
But still. How come I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty bad. Like, I don't want my wife to get into an accident, but I keep hoping someone runs into the back of the car so we don't have to pay to fix it.
Yeah, I did have an incident the other day.
That's true. Someone on a bike like sideswiped her and just took out the whole mirror.
I really wish he would hit the other side there.
Yeah. Anyways, we obviously don't wish that anyone would get into any accidents, but yeah, welcome back to the channel. I'm gonna finally pop this out and get a good look in here and see if it's really worth $4,500 to repair. So I'm gonna just try and make this look better and hope that someone...
Oh! Everything
just blew in my face then. Yeah, I'm just gonna try and make this look better and see how bad it really is in there and see what happens. Yep, that just came off.
Oh.
And then, but mainly this video is about the Bogan 32. We're gonna do a full price breakdown. I'm gonna tell you everything, how much it cost me, and I'm gonna put together a plan or like a list, a shopping list for you guys if you wanna build an RB20 single cam, just like the Bogan 32, but with, you know, more practical parts.
I'm sure a lot of Japanese people want to hear that too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next thing we need, mate, is the kettle.
Kettle?
Yeah, the kettle. Man, I hit this in like the worst possible spot.
Where did you hit? Oh, I see. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
I can see why they want to change the whole rear quarter panel, because that's like all part of it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go get the kettle.
Today's video is sponsored by Dafsky, one of the longest standing sponsors on the channel. They were actually my first ever sponsor, and they make air fresheners for your car. Air fresheners are the cheapest mods that you can do to your car to add your style and personality to your car. Dafsky has tons of designs, not only JDM car themed ones, but also anime characters and so much more. I know that you guys will definitely find something that you love on their website. We also teamed up and did some collaboration air fresheners. We have our new Sakura Cherry Blossom cans, and we also have this new 3-pack available, which is the S15, the OG Skyline, and the abandoned S15. We got the little emo drift skull, and of course the S15 and the classic SAMMIT logo. Seriously, some of my best products yet. Head to dafsky.com right now and grab yourself some of these air fresheners. Seriously, one of the cheapest and simplest mods that you can do to your car to add your kind of style and whatnot in the interior. And make sure you grab more than one. These things are seriously cheap and they smell great. And I mean, who else doesn't want like their favorite anime character or something hanging up in front of you while you're bobbing down the road? Thank you, Dafsky, for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. May's still waiting for the kettle upstairs, but the heat gun's doing a really good job. We might actually be able to pop this out before the kettle boils. Oh, look at it. Oh, there it is. It's not as good as new, obviously. Definitely a lot better than it was. I'm gonna get this bottom section just a little bit there. Now this is where all the main damage is this rear quarter in here. It's kind of hard to see, I think, because it's really dark, but all of this is pushed up and in. You can see the little mounts there are all in the wrong location. This whole thing here is folded in. And then if you look in here, you can actually see it's moved the whole section here, and all of this is all kinked out and pushed in. Yeah, it's not great. It's definitely pretty mangled. I can't believe that little pole did so much. This should like get to its original shape after a couple days in the hot sun. But yeah, the paint's obviously messed up. We're still gonna get this fixed no matter what. I just wanna make it look somewhat a little bit better. You got the kettle? I'm already done.
What? Oh.
Yeah, the heat gun worked great. Still not the same, but
still not the same.
Better. Definitely better. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this will take to its original shape after it heats up some more in the sun and stuff. But yeah, obviously inside's really messed up. I think I could fix it a bit more and just do the missile repair tactic from the inside with a hammer. But if we screw this all back in like that, at least it's a lot better than it was.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? I think we should have a damn it SAMMIT
sticker, like a little band-aid thing.
For any missiles that got like hit, or
for sure.
Any of the cars that you guys have that has the damage.
Or it could be tape. Remember, like back in the old days, you used to have like drift Tengoku tape, and like you'd wrap it up your car and stuff when all the aero would break. We should do something like that where it's just like Demit, Semmit, non-repeat, and it's just like a tape, like a cheap gum tape kind of thing.
Let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know. Sticker or tape?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely something I think we want to add to the online store. I'm going to look into seeing if we can just bash this out later on, but May's got to go pick up Yuko from daycare, so do that. But for the most part, this looks 1,000 times better, so I'm happy about that. And,
Sorry, Suzuki-san.
Yeah, we'll get this fixed later, properly.
I don't think the exhaust is damaged.
Let me just try putting on the car. Maybe I can feel the difference. Because what was happening was this part was like pushing against it, and every time like I would just have stopping at the light.
You'd hear it vibrating, right?
Vibrate like crazy.
Yeah, because it's vibrating on the bumper because this whole section has moved, right?
I just realized my plate, the hiragana is met.
How's that? Is that better now?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
More space.
I just bent. I was able to bend with my hand the back panel here. I'm not even joking. I just bent the whole back panel.
I think you just did like $2,000 worth of repair right now.
Honestly, this rear quarter is not too bad looking under here now that I can see under the banner.
You know, I was looking at that quote. You know what I realized?
What?
They outsourced to Nissan.
Do they really?
Yeah.
That's so funny. Like the Nissan body repair shop?
Yep.
That's funny.
That's why it's so expensive.
I'm tempted to take this to Bala because he's got a really good like Pakistani body guy.
Yeah, they do
guy.
Amazing job.
Yeah, and he has the big frame machine there.
Yeah.
So I think they would be able to pull this straight and not even have to replace the rear quarter.
Yeah.
Because like they have all the tools, they take all the paint off, and they do like the little weld-on tab things and straighten and pull everything out and get it perfect. And then it's minimal filler. They try to restore the original body panel.
Missile fix.
Yeah, it's a temporary fix. It'll work for now.
Still, it looks fine from here, but
Does it?
But from the side, it's like it has a low pocket.
Yeah,
maybe we can hide something in here.
If we had some yellow like gaffer tape, just like cover this, fill in this area here over the top, it'd look great.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just happy that there's no rattle anymore.
Honestly, this was an eyesore. It looks so much better from behind now.
Yeah.
It's still not perfect.
It just looks like, you know, I messed up in parking and I scratched it, yeah.
Honestly, it looks like someone else hit you. You didn't hit anything, yeah.
Now for the main part of today's video. How much did the Bogan 32 cost me? How much did it cost me to build a single cam RB20E plus T? And I think it's all gonna really surprise you. Before we get into it, a few disclaimers. I am not going to be including, you know, adding an angle kit or aero or body parts or anything like that or wheels, right? I just wanna focus on the 20E plus T turbo package kind of engine, right? And the ECU management and all the kind of stuff to make this work, okay? So everything else that I mentioned that we're not going to be covering, it's kind of, you know, it depends on you guys, like whether or not you want to even bother with bodywork paint or, you know, whether or not you even want headlights. Do you even, you know, want to have these particular wheels or this particular angle kit? You could get away with stock angle, you know what I mean? So there's even people that probably don't even want to drift these. They just want to have a car that goes, you know, fast in a straight line on the street or enjoy it like that. So I think we're just going to completely focus on the engine. I've actually tried to shoot this already and it just got way out of control. So I just ended up putting all the prices on here and we'll talk about the total at the end of it. Now there's a few things we bought in different currencies and stuff like that. So I'm sticking to USD. Let's go through everything on this list. Once again, engine package only, right? Now these engines did come with automatic transmissions put up against them. So you are going to need a manual transmission and manual swap, which I've put into this as well. Now, let's start off with the two most important things that bring this engine to life and make this engine actually somewhat valuable in the sense that it makes power. Valve springs and camshafts. I got these from Kelford. The drop-in springs, you don't need retainers or anything like that. They work with the stock drivetrain stuff, 259 USD. The camshaft is a little expensive. It's their RB32 6G camshaft. It's 615 USD. But these two items are what make that engine something and actually like you want to do something with. So that's super important. But I will tell you some cheaper routes. Valve springs, definitely get. But with the cam, there's nothing stopping you from putting an NA RB30 cam in or a VL Turbo RB30 cam in. All the RB30 single cams will go straight into this. So, you know, see if you can find a second-hand one of these or see if you can just use the RB30 NA one. I'm not sure if that's a better cam. I haven't tested it myself, but it's probably a lot better than the 20E single cam. But yeah, try and get the turbo variant of the RB30. Also, one thing I haven't tested is obviously this engine did come out as an ET. There was a turbo version of this engine. I have heard from a few people that have had the engine that it did have a different camshaft than this, who have like messed around with RB's single cam stuff. So supposedly that camshaft is better and doesn't have all the overlapping that the NA engine does, which causes all the issues in it not revving past 5,500 RPM. So that could be a viable option, but I'm not sure, and I haven't tested it. But I do know that this works, and it works so good, and it's super cool because it's a big cam and it's super low P. Now, I know 615 does sound like a lot, but think about it from a dual camshaft engine in an RB25 or an RB26. Normally it's like 350 to 450 each side, intake and exhaust. So that's a lot more than 615 for both. And single cam does both at the same time. So it's a little bit of a package deal. Moving on, some stuff from AliExpress that wasn't going to affect the engine build quality overall because it's just a radiator, oil cooler and stuff like that. So the oil cooler was 39 USD. The radiator cost me 143 USD shipped from China. That's crazy cheap. And it's a 3-row radiator and it works great. It doesn't go over 89, 90 degrees. It's awesome. So that's good. Turbo manifold is a cheap China manifold sold in Australia on eBay, and it is just listed as a VL Holden Commodore turbo manifold. Don't search RB30 turbo manifold, you'll get other stuff, but the cheapest manifold that I could find is 250 AUD, which works out to only be 169 USD. It's crazy cheap. Turbo. Now this gets a little tricky because this was kind of a like I scratched Okachan's back and he scratched mine kind of deal, right? But as you know, I'm taking the T04Z off this car and I want something more responsive. So what I'm actually looking at doing is looking at older generation HKS turbos, like the old, I think it was a 2835 HKS turbo that was on my S15 previously when we first got it. That would be perfect for this car. So trying to look for something like that. Those turbos, secondhand, good condition, are about $300 to $600 USD. If you want to, I do not advise this, but if you want to, you could go crazy cheap and get a $150 China turbo. You could. Should you? You want something that's going to be good, reliable, and actually responsive? Just get the older HKS turbos. They're a Garrett core. You're pretty much getting an awesome quality turbo for next to nothing. And if you want a brand new turbo, look at the club edition ones that Garrett just released that are super affordable for what they are, which is crazy good. Anyway, so $300 to $600 would get you the turbo that you need to make this responsive. I did forget the wastegate, so that's down the bottom of the list. I put a copy HKS gate on there that I just found on Yahoo Auctions, and it cost me 100 USD. All right, just a cheap China one. That's it. Moving on, injectors. We got Dishworks 800cc there. You don't need 800cc. You could get 550cc, but the 800cc's are on eBay retail for 550 USD. The fuel pump was a Dishworks 200, 120 USD brand new on ebay.com. Moving along, like I said, the fuel setup, you could go a cheaper route with smaller CC injectors. You could even get a set of secondhand injectors. You could, get some other OEM ones that flow more and stuff like that that might work with this. But for drop-in injectors for the RB20 DET, just get yourself a set of brand new ones. You could also just get used turbo motor ones, but if you want to make like some decent power and like turn up the boost, it's better to just get new ones. And they're cheap. Like that's really not that much. But if you want to go real budget, you can. Speaking of fuel stuff, the fuel regulator I forgot to, but that's down here. That was 250 USD. That is not something you need. You can use the stock regulator. You don't need to change that. I only put that on, that nice expensive one, purely because I was trying to diagnose why this thing wasn't revving and I needed a gauge to be able to see fuel pressure while we were having the issue. So I could take that off and it wouldn't affect anything. So we could delete this 250 from the list, to be honest. But anyways, moving on. Wiring loom and ECU. This gets a little difficult too because I didn't want to spend the money that I actually did on the wiring loom on this, but my thought process was that if this engine blows up, I have a fresh brand new wiring loom that'll work with an RB25 or an RB20, no problem. So I spent more money than I should have and got a complete brand new wiring specialties wiring loom. Now, those things are expensive, but what I wanted to do is put in here the price of using a stock coupe GTST turbo loom. So that's what we have here. Wiring loom, you can get these. I've looked them all up on eBay. I'd recommend to people in the States though, try to buy them from Australia or Japan directly, just because
they're so much cheaper over here, and including shipping, they're still cheaper than 250 USD, but I did find a couple engine lubes only for 250 USD. ECU, another thing. I went all out and got a Link because I'm a Link boy and I love Link, and that's just me. You could do that route, and that's a great option because there's just so many features and things that you can do in fail-safes. But you could also just get the stock GTST R32 Turbo ECU. It'll plug straight in, get a NIS tune, 500 USD, you're good for a budget. If you want to go the Link route, they're like $1,500 for the whole thing. So, and sensors and stuff like that, and you delete the airflow meter, which is a positive. So I'd highly recommend that. I think though you can go to a map sensor now with NIS tune anyway, so maybe stick with that route. Or a Power FC, you can get a Power FC for these really cheap for 500, less than 500 USD. I think they're in Up Garage for $300, literally, not even joking. So you can just get a Power FC and you're good. Moving along, coil packs, 230 USD. I bought that off Summit Racing, full 8 LS coil packs for a truck. They're cheap China knockoff ones. They're great. They work fantastic. It's better than the distributor. What more could I ask for? Cam angle sensor conversion. This depends on the ECU that you get. If you get a Link or if you get something that you can change what kind of trigger it's using, I highly recommend change the trigger wheel out from the 360 one, stock Nissan one, to the 24:1 one. But you could use the stock one in there and just take the front cap off and get a plate and cover up. You don't even have to take that cover off, but you need space for the turbo and the intake piping and stuff. So I highly recommend get one of those plates. They're $50. And if you do get the disc, because you're ECU and stuff, they're $50 too, just for that little disc change. So 100 USD. We already went through the waste getting the fuel pressure regulator. Let's get to the transmission. Now this one's tricky as well. This transmission, it's kind of special. It's got first, second, third straight cut gears in there. So it's a little aggressive and a little too much for this car, and it's an RB25 transmission. That was also I scratched Okachan's back, he scratched mine kind of deal. There's a lot of those, but we got the transmission at a really, really good price, and he looked after us with it. But this thing is not making enough torque or power to break the stock RB20 box, which is a 71C, the same transmission used in the S14 and S13 with the SR. It's just a different bell housing. They were also the same transmissions used in the DR30 and the R31 Skyline, just all the housings and the casings were different. It's just the same internals all the way through. So if you get the right housings, you could work out a cheap way to get that same transmission from an SR 5-speed and all this kind of stuff. But a full swap kit with the clutch pedal, the brake pedal, the master, and all that kind of stuff that you need is 1,300 USD. And that's for the RB20 manual transmission swap. So that gets you everything to do the manual swap. Right? If you have parts lying around or friends or anything, you could get this way cheaper. You can make this way cheaper. But the manual swap for that transmission is 1,300. Clutch. I went all out on this. I could have made this so much cheaper, but I got a brand new ORC Super Single. That was 650 USD. It sucks that the timing didn't work out because I should have just taken the Nismo copper mix out of the 33.4 Skyline and put that in. That would have saved me, that would have been a free clutch. But yeah, 650 USD towards that. You can get cheaper clutches. Yeah, but I like the ORC Super Single. It sounds great. It's dampened so that it doesn't put a lot of stress and strain with all the aggressive clutch kicks I do on the transmission and drivetrain. So that's my choice. It's a bit expensive, but it is what it is. Drive shaft was also inexpensive. But I actually saved a ton of money on this because I had the guys from Drift HQ give it to me at the LZ Invitational, and I brought it home with me on the freaking plane. Yes, I carried it on my shoulder through the airport. I think it was JFK, literally on my shoulder, a one-piece drive shaft in a box. And it was heavy and it was frustrating. And then I left my AirPods at the freaking car rental place, and I'd already walked up to the terminal and I had to walk all the way back, and it was not fun. All right, I literally like tweaked my back doing it. Anyways, long story short, I paid $800 for a one-piece drive shaft. The reason why it costs so much, because it's one piece. It's kind of an upgrade. And I put a 25 transmission in this, and 25 engines did not come in this car. You can get just the front part for the RB20 manual transmission in these cars for less than $200, sometimes even $100, because it's a two-piece drive shaft from the factory. You have an automatic one in there. You take out the front path, put in the manual one, and you're good to go. So this could be $250, but I paid $800, so that's going to be in our total calculation. But I'm just letting you know, you can, cheaper option here to use the stock one. Fabrication. This is hard, depending on what fabricator you work with, how they charge their time and all that type of thing. But I think this is fair. I think $750 USD is where it should be for how much it is to just make a dump pipe and some intercooler piping.
Some guys are more expensive depending on how good their work is or how long it takes them. But I think that's a fair price, and that's about what I paid for all of my fab work, right? I never like to ask fab guys for a cheaper price. They do amazing work. They do stuff that I can't do, and it's hard to find a good fab guy in Japan, and I would never try to undercut my fab guy. He's so good at what he does. So normally, if your fab guy says, yeah, it'll be this much, just give an extra $50 to let them know you appreciate it. They need the love. So yeah, $750 for that. Miscellaneous. There's one thing I forgot that was super important that I added to this, which was the intercooler. These are so cheap in Japan. They're like 300 USD after the conversion, which is crazy. Full front mount, Blitz intercooler kit, return flow, great. Oil catch can, $9 off AliExpress. Radiator hoses, $21 USD off AliExpress. Miscellaneous hoses and clamps and things like that, 200 USD. That's everything. That is everything you need to build what I've built. How much did it all cost? I don't know if you've been adding up the whole time, but $7,955 USD. Please bear in mind that this is obviously full retail, and obviously if you got friends that work in the business and all that kind of stuff, like everyone does, you can get a lot of this stuff for cost pricing, or, you know, in my situation, obviously I work with a lot of these companies, so this is probably a little far from the real price. And if you're doing all the work yourself too, if you're also able to weld, like there's so many savings and things like that that you can do. But everything that we have on this list comes to this amount. And I just want to bring this into perspective. This whole car cost me $1,500 USD with today's exchange rate. Automatic with this engine. Then we spent, let's say, this amount on it. We have a fully driftable, cool sounding, cool looking car for literally under 10K. That is awesome. Absolutely awesome if you look at these cars from this era and how much they sell for. I think it's okay. I think it's good. I think it's unique. It stands out. Everyone just, you pop the hood and their reaction is amazing. And I think that's a win. I think that's perfect. I don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys think. If we look at this in some other currencies, I mean, just put 7,955 USD and then in whatever your currency is in Google, and it'll tell you what it is. But that's pretty much how much it is. But yeah, I think we did really, really well. I think we did extremely well with this car. And then obviously, like, you know, if you want to add aero and paint and stuff like that, a few more grand on top for things like that. But I'm super excited. I think, like, it's always scary, like when you put everything out and you add it all up, it adds up very, very fast, right? And this is the trap that we always fall into as car people. We get a project and we're like so excited. We're buying our dream car for $900 off, you know, Facebook Marketplace. Yes, it's a little beaten and needs to be rebuilt, but that's awesome. I can get my dream car for so cheap. And then the car comes and it's terrible and it needs a lot of work and needs parts and everything like that. And you just get so hyped and excited about buying that. And then later on realizing that it just keeps adding up and adding up and adding up. I'm sorry if this is hitting home, Enzo. Enzo's holding the camera. RX-7 vibes. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's something we always fall into, and that's why we always end up with multiple project cars that just take forever to get done. So it's always good to just go through your builds when you're finished, lay it all out, so then you have a rough idea of how much money you should save up before you get another project car if you want it to go through very smoothly and very quickly. But yeah, I think this is good. I think this is great. For a budget drift car, for a missile, like, you can't get a Chaser for less than like 20K now. So this 32 4-door that looks sick and sound, like the sound that this thing makes is so sick. No brainer, absolute no brainer. And there's just so much stuff here that you can do cheaper and get for cheaper pricing, and, or, you know, get some parts of some friends, or even that, you know, there's so many different routes that you could go and save money on. Like, you could still use the distributor if you wanted to be honest, and save some money there. I don't advise that because coil on plug is just so much more efficient and better, and you'll probably not have any, you're using boost, so you really should have coil on plug. But yeah, the coil plug kit that I got for $230 off Summit, it's great. It uses the LS plugs, the LS leads, because it just goes straight from the manifold, and I just made a super easy bracket to hold them all and screw them all in. So yeah, anyways, I tried to do this as cheaply as possible with some compromises. I will never ever run anything but a Link ECU. I love their product. And obviously, no one wants to deal with wiring like this. Can we just talk about this for 5 seconds? Right? This is why, right? This is why I went the wiring route I did. Because I don't want my car to look like that. Calling Daiki out. We'll fix that for him, don't worry. But seriously, that's why I went the wiring route that I did, because I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with fixing someone else's mistake. But anyways, that's it. That's everything the Bogan 32 cost me. Once again, I do want to say, this is obviously a lot cheaper with the companies that we work with, the amazing, incredible companies that we work with, being able to do what we do. But this is just a fair price of what a normal person would pay for all this stuff. And like I said, if you worked out a couple things here that you can do cheaper, like with the drive shaft and stuff like that, you can already get this pretty much down really, really good. Like, I think with all the savings and things that I talked about, using different camshafts and stuff, like used items and all that other stuff, maybe you got a cheaper turbo, like you actually got a good used old Garrett for like 350 bucks instead of 600 and things like that. You could get this down to like 5K pretty easily, I think. There's a lot of savings to be made on this list, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this breakdown of everything. Looking at this definitely makes me reconsider where all my funds and money go, but I love cars and I love what I'm doing, and I know you guys love it too, so we're gonna keep doing it. But yeah, that's that. Bogan 32. It's really not bad. It's actually pretty good. I think the Miata cost me more money to build than this, which is actually insane, because that was a fully forged motor build. 2 less cylinders, but still a lot more money. And we didn't even use a link on that. That was back in the days. It was when I first started out. That was crazy. Cool. Anyways, curious to know if you guys have any questions or anything like that, let me know down in the comment section. As for everything else, we're using cut and shut knuckles, and everything else is pretty straightforward in the car. Oh, and my Bluetooth speaker thing was $12 on AliExpress. Seriously, there are some things that you can get on AliExpress that are good and good money savers, because an oil cooler, you get a name brand one for like $600, or you buy one for $39 and it's all that you need. Maybe on a comp car I'd spend that money, but not on this. It is now the next day and I am in a hotel lobby really close to Sportsland Sugo, my favorite track for the FD round this weekend. Things are looking good, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm sorry I forgot to do an outro. It's been a hectic week, but I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. I know it does seem like a lot of money when you lay it all out, but that is still a really, really good build. One thing I want to point out is you could go and buy like a 2-door coupe version that's already a turbo engine, but stock everything for 20 grand. Then if you actually want to make it fun, sound cool and fast and everything like that, you're still going to have to spend probably more than what we spent on this one to make it like that. So at the end of the day, that thing completely take home in that package form is under 10 grand. You cannot beat that right now. But anyways, I'm curious to know your thoughts, guys. Thanks for watching. Smash that like button, write us a comment, and I will see you all in the next one, which will be FD related stuff. Also, I'll see you guys all on chat on the live stream tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.
Here we are, SAMMIT. SAMMIT's in the lead. Look at that, real aggressive in his initiation through that 3-2-1. Watanabe trying to fight that cloud of smoke by SAMMIT, but SAMMIT just laying it down. Them 8009 ripping into outer zone 3, shredding those tires and knocking those pylons all over the place.
Ah,